What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Nutrition Coaching Secrets podcast. We have another fun episode, the last episode of 2020. What's going on, Tommy? How's it going?
Not much. Pretty busy day. Hopefully, I sound better on the podcast. I got a new mic, so audio quality is leveling up. My last one, which was decent, just gave out completely. So I was rocking with my trashy headphone microphone. So hopefully, I sound at least a little better this time.
Chase got on me forever about wearing AirPods until you guys finally see this monstrosity in front of me. But apparently it's made the sound quality better, so it's worth it. Got my little setup here in the corner of my room, and we're good to go. But man, I'm excited for this one because this is it's like I said, it's the last podcast of 2020. First of all, it's been super cool to get the podcast back up and running. It's been a lot of fun to get ideas from everybody as to what they want to hear and make sure that we can bring that education to not only the podcast world, but also into our Facebook groups. And so if you are not in our Facebook group, make sure that you head over to Nutrition Coaching Secrets, the group. Make sure you apply. Will get you approved, and that's where you'll see everything first. This is where these live stream to, obviously they live stream to YouTube as well, but they live stream to our group. That's where I'm in there answering questions immediately after the podcast. And so if you are somebody that is listening to this right now on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, or wherever we've put this out, make sure you head over and make sure you join that group, because there's some gold in there. I know just recently I did a giant list of like 15 things to think about when speaking to your ideal customer and when building out your marketing and writing your sales copy. And everybody seems to love that. We do live trainings in there all the time. We did one just not that long ago on literally the game plan. And I kind of pulled back the curtain and I shared everything that we are doing as a business, how we went 7X last year. So it's pretty crazy, man. It's been quite the ride. And 2020 from the world perspective was garbage. And I'm not gonna lie, 2020 from NCI perspective was amazing. It's funny, we're actually starting to get inquiries from PR, very well-known news stations, TV shows that are saying, oh my gosh, like, you guys did something pretty special in 2020. You created jobs that not only helped people through a pandemic, but would actually make the quality of our population better or more prepared for any future pandemic, right? Because all the coaches that we're building are actually going out there, they're educating, they're helping change that world, right? We're getting out of the world of repair, we're shifting to optimization, and we're really recreating a new foundation of health. And so it's been really cool to contribute at every level. It allows me to sleep really well at night. It's very humbling, and I'm excited to talk about what we're going to talk about tonight, because what we did in 2020 is not going to be possible in 2021. The things that I did in, let's see, like 2014 to 2019 are no longer possible, right? And we made millions of dollars doing those things. And I actually believe that the majority of what the quote unquote gurus are teaching is not going to be viable for very long. And this is why I am prepared to make a monster pivot. It's one that I'm doing myself, so you can't say I'm not putting my own actions where my words are. I really have been advocating this to clients since about July of 2020. And, we just had Kylie pass her first ever 6-figure mark. We just had Kara do her first ever $20,000 month. I got the coolest message right before we started this podcast. A girl had just joined Mastery for Life. And she said, hey, I know we haven't had calls last week because you're off for Christmas and happy holidays. But I just wanted to tell you, I have no background in nutrition at all. I went through the certifications. I listened to the hours and hours and hours of recorded content, and all of the things that you said in there, I took them and I started applying them. And I already got my first 3 high ticket clients, and I have 2 more really hot leads. And these are somebody I haven't even gotten to talk to yet, only from the content that she got. And like, this speaks to exactly the pivot that we are making and exactly why I'm so fucking excited, man.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And I mean, even in this group, like you were saying a few minutes ago, there's hours of content. Even like for me as the content strategist, it's a struggle because there's so much content, and to figure out what to put on social, like what the best stuff is of the best stuff that we have, it's a challenge. So I would definitely encourage anyone to get in here and take advantage of that.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess that speaks to, okay, well, Jason, what is the big pivot? I think when you hear the word coaching, I think that everybody naturally and rightfully so thinks of a very one-to-one environment, right? Like Tommy, I think if you inquired with me about me coaching you, I think you would expect one-to-one.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't have a problem with that, but I do have a problem from a business perspective, right? There's a lot of value to be had, but I also, the longer I've been in the game, I don't think it's a necessity anymore. I really don't. I think that the information is very commoditized. I think the personal touch is great, but I think that a lot of coaches are trying to sell a reliance on personal touch. And I think that has swung the pendulum the wrong way. I'll never forget, like when I came into space 7-8 years ago, I said what was missing was human connection, right? And I built the connection-based model. And if you look around, coaching faction in the space all has components of the connection-based model. I think when we had Anders Varner on here, he actually said that. He's like, dude, you were the first one that really looked at this and said, oh my God, there's a scalable model here. I'm going to do this. And so we've done that. But now what I see and what I hear from the marketplace is there's a reliance upon somebody having a coach. And I don't think that bodes well for us as a society. I don't really believe that is impact at scale. I believe that is quick results at scale. And that's great. I'm all about people getting results, but I don't think that that's setting us up to be in a better place 10 years from now. And if you've ever been to a level 1 with me, you know that I tell coaches, I don't judge you by the results you can create in 10 weeks. I judge you by where your clients are in 10 years. And if your clients are in a better place in 10 years because of what you've taught them, because of what they learned with you, because of the values you've instilled in them, then I actually believe that you have done a very good job. And so the pivot I'm making is I'm going to be doing very little, if any, one-on-one coaching in 2021. And now I believe that we have figured out something very important. And it's really important that people hear the whole explanation. If you're a new coach, like you could turn this off because you need to be doing one-to-one coaching. Like period, the end. Don't get caught up in this hype of, well, there's way bigger ways to make a lot of money. Like you need to refine your skills. You need to prove that you are a badass at what you do. And you need to spend some time in the grind of being a coach and building results. And by the way, it's extremely fucking lucrative. Like you can make $250,000, $300,000 very easily as a one-on-one nutrition coach, as a solopreneur without a team. Maybe a VA here and there, but nothing big. Like you don't need a salesperson, you don't need setters, you don't need closers, right? All these crazy tactics are being taught. I promise you don't need that, right? You can make $250,000 a year as a one-on-one nutrition coach, but that's going to be like your glass ceiling. And everyone says, well, Jason, that's when I'm going to hire coaches and I'm going to scale. And that's not really a scalable proposition because as you add coaches on your team, there's a big flaw in this industry. And it's, if you pay your coaches a lot, and a lot, I mean 50 to 60% of gross, that doesn't account for the overhead in your business, right? So when I had 15 coaches on IN3, I also had a president of my company, I had a vice president of my company, I had 2 different admins that basically played bill collector, startup, customer service. I was running paid ads to promote the brand, right? So I wasn't factoring in my cost of acquisition. So on the surface, if I was charging $300 and giving away $150, that's 50-50 split. But my $150 was actually now paying my admin. It was paying, my VP, my president, my ads manager. It was paying for my ads, right? All of the things that I needed in my business, that's what my 50% was. So really my margin was like 25%. And if you think about that, if you do $1 million gross, you only made $250,000 and then you got to pay taxes on that. So you have this massive headache of managing a team of 15 coaches to maybe make over $100,000 that you could make as a solopreneur, right? Yeah. So it's not a super scalable model. And everyone's like, oh, just pay your coaches less. Well, if you pay your coaches less, at some point they're going to wake up and be like, well, I could literally the time, I can make double the money, and I'm just going to go do that, and they're going to steal your clients. And I hate to say that. It happened to me twice. It ended up in litigation one of the times. I can't talk about it because there's NDAs, but it didn't end well for the coach that tried to take money, that tried to take clients from me. I'll say that. And it's extremely difficult. So I believe every new coach should start one-to-one. But I think if you're a coach and you're already in the space, I think you have to start thinking about what I'm going to talk about now, which is how do you create results, right? And this is such an important question that so many coaches cannot answer, right? I remember when I sat down to write the level 2 manual for NCI, and I had to talk about customer retention, and I had to talk about the process of coaching. And I was like, all right, I clearly do something very different than the industry because my average retention was 2 years plus. And I clearly have a system that creates results because I used to get epic results with my clients. And I was like, what do I do? I had no idea. And the minute that I wrote it down and I got really clear on it, my articulation of our business, my marketing got exponentially better. Because what I had figured out was I did 4 very specific things, right? And there's a YouTube video on this, right? If you guys go and you look at the YouTube video, what a standard nutrition coaching session should look like, I actually reveal what those 4 things are. So go check that out, right? But I realized I only do 4 things. And so when I was talking to prospects, I was asking them, do you do these 4 things? And they said, no, I don't. Well, that's why you're not seeing results. And instantly I had something tangible to connect them to drive FOMO to make them realize that, holy shit, I've met all these amazing human beings. My coaches that I've had in my life are super nice people. They just weren't using these 4 things. And that's why I'm not seeing success. And boom, what did I have connection to? I had connection from client to process, right? From client, what we call, to framework. Not to Jason, because you can't scale services of yourself, right? I didn't want people buying into me at that point. I already had 167 clients. I couldn't take any more clients, right? So I had to get them to work with my team. And even though they knew Jason as the face and the voice and the leader, I needed them to trust that my team was amazing. Mm-hmm. And so what I did is I said, well, my team has all been taught this system. And the magic is not Jason. The magic is this system. And so people were like 100% bought in. And I was like, So then I taught that at NCI level 2, and people walked away and they're like, that is the single most valuable piece of information I got all weekend. They're like, my coaching sessions are so much better. That allowed them to scale. And so that went on for the last year and a half. And over the last year, I started to realize, I'm like, if that works at scale, I wonder if I can do that with more than one person at a time. And so I started this past year taking on 60 and 90-day groups, right? And obviously we did this in the business arena. We didn't do it in the nutrition arena. But I built a framework for our business coaching, right? We call it coaching mastery. Mastery of self, mastery of connection, mastery of marketplace. I started teaching this, and I've now taught it in 1 day. I've taught it in 30 days, and I've taught it in 90 days. Every single time, the success is outrageous. I'm telling you, the success of mastery is unbelievable. By the way, when I get on my group calls every week, and you've been on a Thursday group call, there's 44 people waiting to talk, right? I'm able to go through because I'm like, all right, there's a framework to our success. Tell me about your VEC. Is it working? Tell me about what you're doing once you have people in your group. Is that working? Tell me about how many calls you're booking. Is that working? Tell me about your conversion. Is that working? That's it. 4 steps. That's all I care about. Now ask me whatever you got to ask me. Boom, on to the next. Because it's a system. It's repeatable. And everybody that works with us knows they are working a system. It's also why the results of our clients have gone 10x this year. We created more revenue and more success for coaches this year than we have in the history of our company. All because we started coaching one-to-many, and because the one-to-many was built on the back of a system. It was not built on the back of interaction with Jason Phillips. Now, a lot of coaches are like, I can't do this. Your ego is kicking in right now. Dude, don't have an ego in business. I promise you, don't want to be that important. In fact, if I pull back the curtain a lot and I was like, hey, you want to buy Nutrition Coaching Institute from us, right? Right now, I'm too much of a figurehead, and that makes us a little less valuable. So if you want your company to actually be an asset for you long term, you don't want to be like the ultra face of it, because that's just hurting you. Okay. So old model is scale one-to-one, right? Get a lot of clients one-to-one, scale by hiring more coaches. I don't love that. I think new model, new pivot 2021, coaches should be starting one-to-one, right? Get at least 10, 15K, if not 20K a month, right? Then start to think about, how do I transition this service to one-to-many? And we start that. Now, the beauty is this: once you're doing one-to-many, that's when you can start to take that and turn it into a product. Because if you're doing one-to-many over the course of 90 days, it should be very structured modules. And the way that we teach this inside of Mastery is, the first time you do it, you should sit down after each group call every week and think about write that down, make it a lesson, record a module. That's beta test number 1. Now, the second time you go through your group, we call this beta test number 2. And you literally give the people the module the day before the call. You say, watch this, get on the call, ask any questions. And if all the questions are super easy, people understood what happened in the module, then that module is good. Like, check it off, it goes in the product. But if people are like, oh, I didn't get it, and they ask all these questions, that means you now need to revise that module. You need to answer all those questions, go back, make the revisions, send the module back to them, make sure it makes sense, because that's what you're going to be inserting in your product. But after 2 beta tests, you now have an evergreen product. Okay. So whereas you are making, an evergreen product should cost anywhere $3,000 to $5,000. So where you are literally having to spend hours and hours transactionally coaching one-on-one, 40, 50, 60 people a month, you can now make 5 sales at $3,000, and there's $15,000. And in a group program, in a productized program, you should have to work directly on answering questions, like in this kind of setting on the computer, no more than 2 to 4 hours a week. Now, we have a team that does it. So when people come into Mastery, I work 4 hours. I have a team. Ultimately, our clients have access to about, 18 to 20 hours of coaching per week, which is actually unheard of. We have a tech call. We have a mindset call. We have a beginner call. We have a vision call. We're getting ready to add a finance call. It's kind of absurd what we've done, but we always want to over deliver. You don't have to do that when you start yours, right? And I don't recommend that you do. But over time, obviously, you want to evolve. You want to be the best in your space. So that is what I believe every coach needs to start thinking about now. If you're a coach right now, you need to ask yourself the simple question: how do I create results? If you cannot clearly explain that, if I couldn't give you the marker at one of my events, put you in front of the room, and you can't explain to us in 5 to 10 minutes your system for achieving results, you are playing a transactional one-on-one game that is going to leave you in a rat race come the end of 2021. So to start winning, I suggest you make the pivot that we're making, which is continue to do your one-on-ones, just not as many, increase your rates, consider starting one-to-many, and then consider productizing that. If you don't know how to do that, reach out to us, come inside Mastery, we'll teach you that. That's what we've been doing. It's what we've been teaching our clients. That's why we've built so much success in the last couple of years. Dude, you have been a student of ours for a long time. How does that sit with you? Because you learned the one-on-one model when you came to NCI like 3 years ago. Obviously, you're part of our company now. You've seen the evolution. How does that sound? Obviously, you see it firsthand behind the scenes, so you know the success. But how does that sound to you?
No, it makes perfect sense. Definitely behind the scenes, looking at the success that the coaches in our program have had, it's insane. In my own coaching practice, I don't think I ever progressed to that point. I think I've kind of transitioned into marketing before I got to that peak productization point. But if I were to keep really going heavy down into nutrition coaching, that is definitely the route I would go, because it just makes all the sense in the world.
Absolutely. And I think it has to be like that. I don't really think I don't really think there's any other options at this point. I think, a lot of people are like, Jason, why now? Why are we making this prediction now? Well, COVID shined a light on something that was already happening. And, shout out to Alex Formosa. He wrote what I believe to be one of the best posts of all time. I'm sure it's still up somewhere, where he talks about the writings on the wall and what's going to happen to the fitness industry. And Peloton is a public company. You can see what they're doing, and they've got really impressive numbers. What's impressive is they've got less than 1% churn. And that means they're losing less than 1% of their customers every month. And their ability to spend to acquire a customer, therefore, is extremely high. They have a lot of VC backing. Obviously, they went public. They're worth just billions of dollars. They recently just bought Precor for like $400 million. They're on the rise. And people are loving the convenience of being at home. Gyms are shut down. People are still getting fit. I have a belief, and the number that I've put on it is I believe 30% of gyms will go out of business by the end of 2021. And if we think about that, 30% of gyms equates to probably about 30% of the nation's personal trainers, right? So if we think about that logically, 30% of personal trainers are out of a job. I mean, do you think they're going to go work at McDonald's? Probably not. They're probably going to try to figure out, how do I do this online? Because they're hearing online is a way to make money. What they're going to learn is the model that's been taught for the last couple of years, because that's all that's out there. That's all that's being taught, right? If you go and you hire a quote unquote guru, they're going to teach you the one-on-one model, or they're going to tell you to jump straight to a course. And I don't think a lot of people are ready for a course early enough. They don't understand how they create results. And so I think that unless you're ready to go through these steps, one-to-one, one-to-many productization, right? I really believe that's the way. Then I think you're going to get caught in the rat race. And next year it's going to get hyper competitive. So if you're not doing this right now, I think you're just intentionally, because I just made this awareness statement to you. So if you're not willing to take action, you're intentionally volunteering yourself to go live in the rat race. And if that's where you want to play, man, more power to you. I love you. I hope you succeed. I hope you're the leader of the rat race. But I know for me, I played in the rat race several years before I was able to find success. And I like being successful way more than I like living in the rat race. Behind the scenes, we're starting, another new company, and we're going to get in the rat race, right? We're going to start there, but I want to become a leader. I like to lead. I like to win. And so I'm always finding, man, I really, really believe strongly in what we are talking about here. I can't say it loud enough. I can't say it enough times. I can't say it to enough people. This is where I see the industry going. And if you're not willing to step up, if you're not willing to pivot, I just think you're leaving a lot of success on the table, and I think you're in for a very long ride. So, obviously, if we can help, reach out to us. But this isn't any kind of sales thing. This is I want you genuinely to be aware of what I see happening in the industry, because historically, a lot of my visions have come to fruition in the last 5 years. So,
that's a very true statement.
Yeah, I mean, dude, I ironically, one of our clients, shout out to Kara Goss. I had a call with her on Christmas Eve, and we were talking about her getting to like a record month, which was like $15,000. And I was like, actually, I think you're going to do 20. Just knowing what I know about right after Christmas. And sure as shit, she texted in the group thread today. She said, by the way, I just closed somebody paid in full, which puts me over $20,000. And I was like, I predicted that literally 5 days ago. And she was like,
do you think that, for you, do you think that is just something you were born with? You worked to build, or both? Like, what do you think that is?
I think it's an extension of what I really believe is my superpower, which is the ability to connect and understand people. I think I've spent so much time trying to comprehend human behavior, not learn human behavior, because I don't believe in a lot of the books that have been written, but really to comprehend, to observe, and to understand, right? I'm always observing. I'm always trying to understand. And so when I know that, I can now say, okay, here's what I believe will be the next series of chain reaction type events. And so when I'm able to look at where she is on Christmas Eve, I'm able to look at how many calls she still has. I'm able to look at what I know her content is going to be, what the calls to action are going to be, what her engagement is going to be. I can immediately start looking at that, extrapolating that, connecting the dots, and saying, okay, here's what I believe the expected results to start to look like. And then I know you're good enough at what you do to close some of that. And that's where that comes from. I had a great question from a client today that was like, what do you do when you're not booking enough calls for your sales team and you're not running a significant amount of paid ads? And they said, well, that's where you really have to start understanding, how do you convince somebody to, like, to comment or to book a call? Or what is that journey to which somebody books a call? Because you can go study any of our media. I never tell people to book a call with us, ever, ever.
Yeah.
Like maybe on an email blast every now and then I'm like, hey, book your call, right? But that's super rare because it just doesn't work. It's a very intimidating proposition. What do I do? I'm asking for responses. I'm asking for engagement. And this is something we teach heavily in Mastery. I obey the 5 steps of conversion, right? Conversion comes down to acknowledgement, engagement, intimacy, sales, and cash collection. And so I think a lot of people are trying to use acknowledgement, engagement to immediately jump to sales, but you skip the intimacy part. And I think that's what I'm really good at, is I understand how to move people to intimacy. Once you're in intimacy, getting the sales conversation is simple, and then cash collection is just being good at sales, and we've got a very good team for that. So I think that's it, man. I think I'm so fascinated with human behavior. I love to be able to understand what's going to happen 3 steps ahead of everybody else, and that's kind of how my brain's always worked.
Cool.
So
is there anything else on the topic of like pivoting and what we've been talking about that you want to dive into?
No, because I can't tell everybody else the other secrets, man. Like
I don't even know some of the secrets. So.
No, I can't. Listen, I'm actually on non-disclosures on some of them. I can't even talk about them.
Yeah.
But one thing I do want to remind the podcast about is we did launch Limitless Nutrition. So the supplement brand is soft launch. We don't even have a website for it yet. So if you want that, you just got to message us a link. We'll get you a link to buy Limitless Adrenal. The second product I officially paid for today, December 30th. So that means that is officially in production. We should have that in 2 to 3 weeks, and we'll be announcing that. Really excited about this. Like, I'm going to say this openly. I think this is going to be a category king. I won't say what it is. I won't say what category. This product will win its category. I have tried several other products, and I don't have any loyalty to like any real supplement companies. I'm very good friends with Mike Matthews that owns Legion. I'm very good friends with Aaron Singerman that owns Redcon. I'm friends with the Frisellas that own First Form. Like, I love all of them. I love all of their products. I'm telling you, we will win with this product in its space. It is so good. So I'm really excited about product.
That's gonna make my job with social media that much easier.
Yeah, it's so good, dude. It's so good, and you already know what the product is, but it's so good. Yeah. But product number 3 officially went into formulation today, so I should have my first sample in the next 2 days. And yeah, man, we're anticipating a full launch in March. More details coming on that because we're going to be having a live event in Florida for like a launch party. We'll be telling people how they can attend that. We're going to have some celebrities there and really do that pretty big. So we're pretty pumped, man. In terms of pivot, I'm all in. This is the year you'll watch me go all in beyond what I've ever. You'll see me put more resources at this. I can't say all the secrets, all the things we have working, but I'll tell you this. You'll see me on bigger outlets. You'll see me in more places. You'll see more exposure. You'll see our army grow 5x what it's ever grown. This is the year that you see NCI truly cement its place at the top of the game. And I can say that very confidently because I know what's happening behind the scenes. I know the 3 years that we've spent building the foundation. And I know definitively the model that we've put together is winning in the space and will only continue to win. And so it's exciting times, man. It really is. It's fun. I love our team. Like, I honestly, dude, we're ending 2020 on such a high. I love every single thing that is happening right now. I genuinely do. I couldn't be more grateful for all the people involved, all the people that have stuck with me, all the people that have jumped shit when we struggled, man. Like, hats off to you guys. Love you guys too. Thanks for lighting a bigger fire under my ass. All the people that still talk shit to this day, like, I love you too. Don't think I don't hear it because it lights a fire under my ass every day. And, listen, at the end of the day, man, I want them to succeed as much as I want us to succeed. I think there's infinite amounts of success in this world. I think everybody deserves a piece of it. And really, man, if you're in the health and fitness industry and you're doing a good thing and you're trying to create impact, man, I want you to succeed so badly because I want your clients to get just the gift of your success. I want you to go out there. I want you to touch so many people. I want your clients to reap those benefits and for their lives to improve, man. So if you're doing something positive in this world, man, so much love to you, so much respect for you, so many well wishes for you. And if I can help you in any way, please don't hesitate to reach out. But man, 2021, dude, it's a feeling, it's a mood. It is, people aren't ready. It's fucking limitless, dude. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. This shit is being recorded right now. We're gonna play this a year from now, and you're gonna be like, damn, he over delivered on his promise. Because the promise is that we're gonna blow the fucking roof off. And dude, it's fun. It's really fun right now.
I'm excited. Well, I cannot think of a better way to end off the podcast episode than that, man. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, that's it, man. You know, listen, it's December 30th, 2020. You know, for everyone out there, a year ago, I was putting my head on the pillow and I was very uncertain about things. I made the decision finally to walk away from IN3. I made a decision to unload it. You know, those of you guys that haven't heard the story, there was that's where a lot of my revenue came from. I was literally shutting down a company that brought me $200,000 a month, and I was going to a company that was doing like 30 grand a month, and I trusted my gut. I knew it was the right thing. I lost a lot of sleep, but I knew it was the right thing. And so anybody that hears this podcast, like, if you know what's on your mind is the right thing, like it may not make sense financially, it may not make sense in the grand scheme of life, but if you have that gut feeling that it's right, like, just go, like, just fucking go. Like, if this year taught us nothing, it taught us, like, nothing is guaranteed. Like, you don't know what's going to happen, but fuck, like, at least be happy doing what you're doing. Like, if you're happy, I don't care what the pandemic does. I don't care what comes out there. You're going to be successful. You know, I wrote in my Instagram post today, chase fulfillment, not success. And so I think that's probably the best line we can leave on for 2020. I hope that every single person chases fulfillment, not success. And more importantly, I hope every human being in this world continues to choose impact over everything.